Do you drink too much? Recently, I've been struggling to find ideas of what to do for the channel. And I just thought to myself, let's go back to the basics. How much is too much? And, this is probably the first thing anyone asks before they say, am I an alcoholic? Before that even crosses their mind, before they even dare think about whether they might have a problem with alcohol and whether that problem might be defined as them being an alcoholic, it's, am I drinking too much? And it's funny because, you talk to anyone in recovery who's gone through it and recognized the problem and whatever, and they're like, yeah, I always drank too much. They know it. And the thing is, if you ask them, did you know it back then? They're like, yeah, I knew it. I knew I drank more than everyone else. I knew I drank too much. For a start, let's go for the recommended daily intake for a man. It's something like 14 units per week. And it'll be different for whatever country you're in, but everyone knows like a figure, something like that, like a few pints or a bottle of wine a week. It's that kind of figure. And anyone who is an alcoholic knows that, like, hang on, that's like one session, or that is barely one session, let alone how much I'm going to drink throughout a week. I'm like, so what? I can have a blowout on a Friday night and that's all I can drink all week. Or, I drink, yeah, I go, all right, I drink that much on a Friday night, but they probably haven't properly added it up in their head. I mean, that's the thing. You have a bottle of wine, maybe a strong bottle of wine, you're done for your weekly limit. You have, 4 or 5 pints, depending on the strength, again, you're done your weekly limit. But what does that even mean? What does that number represent? Because you could easily drink that much a week and not have a problem with alcohol. You could easily drink that much and never show any physical signs of the damage that is doing to your body. So what does that define? Who in some medical institute research person somewhere said, if you drink more than that, then we think it's going to have an effect on this or this or this or whatever? Or is it an arbitrary unit? Did someone decide, look, we've got to choose a figure for public policy guidelines. How much would a reasonable person go and drink on a night out? 4 or 5 pints. Let's make people think that they're okay if they go out and have a few drinks on a weekend. But if they're drinking more than that, and they're like, yeah, let's go for that figure. whatever. But what's too much to you? That's what matters. How much is too much for you? Is it, I have a couple of cans every night because I like to have a little bit of a relaxed feeling in the evening? And then suddenly that's 14 drinks a week and that's way over the limit. Is it, I only go out on the weekends, but when I do, I make it a bit of a blowout. Couple of pre-drinks, 5 or 6, 7 or 8 rounds at the bar, maybe a couple of drinks somewhere after. Is that too much? Because we are all individuals. And that medical number means absolutely nothing to an alcoholic. It means nothing to most people, to be honest. I don't think there's many people out there adding up their units going, oh, sorry, mate, I can't have another drink tonight. That would put me over my weekly limit. No. Because people who aren't worried about their drinking don't count their drinks. Only an alcoholic counts their drinks. Only an alcoholic controls their drinking against their own will. So what's too much? Is it too regularly? Is it that you go out Friday, Saturday nights, but then you need a couple of nights in the weekend just to have a relax and blow off steam? And it builds from there and becomes every night, etc., etc. I've said it so many times. It's that compounding effect. So here we go. Too much is when alcohol starts having a negative impact on your life. It's simple. Too much of something is too much. We all know when we've had too much. We all know when we've drunk too many nights in a week. We all know when we had too much the night before. The question is, are you prepared to admit that the amount you're drinking is having a negative impact on your life? Are you starting to notice those long-term issues? Are you starting to notice maybe medical issues, diabetes, weight, etc.? Little things start creeping up like dizzy spells, problems with your digestion, that kind of stuff. Are you starting to become a little bit anxious? Are you noticing it in your mental health? Are you starting to notice it in your body? Are you waking up after a heavy weekend with the shakes and twitchiness and a racing heartbeat? Is it getting to the point where you're drinking on a work night means that you're turning up late to work, pulling sickies, falling asleep at the desk, whatever, stumbling in first thing, reeking of booze? Are you drinking so regularly that you can't remember the last time you socialized with friends or family sober? And in fact, all those occasions are marred and blurred and fuzzy because of the drink. And then a step more. Is it getting to the point where when you drink, your personality changes to a degree that's negative, depressive, aggressive? Are you having fights and arguments and disagreements? So is it affecting you physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, professionally, monetarily? Are you drinking so much that you're literally losing your money to the booze? So if you're asking yourself, am I drinking too much? The question is actually, What effect is my drinking having on my life, on me personally, on those around me? And the answer to that question will either be yes or no, and that will inform you whether you're drinking too much. If you can have a blowout once a week and not get so sloppy that you end up in hospital or a jail cell or in a fight, and if you're okay waking up with a bit of a hangover and then getting on with your day, then fine. It's not too much. But if any of those things I said are happening, then it might be too much. And there might be underlying reasons which are causing you to use drinking that way, behave in that way, escape or cope with drink in that way. Then you can go and see if there's something to do about it. Maybe one day you'll find out that you are an alcoholic. And maybe in a couple of years you'll look back at it and go, of course I had a problem. I was drinking every night and I was getting smashed and being late for work and having fights, and I didn't have any decent relationships because they were all based on lies and booze. So there you go. Are you drinking too much? I don't know. Ask yourself and ask yourself a few more questions. I hope that helped. I've been thinking about doing a few more of these kind of back to basics videos. If you've got any basics or simple questions you want asked, pop them in the comments. I'll see what I can do. Catch you soon.